Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. All right, folks, welcome back to What's the 411 News. And the news headline today is good old Joe Biden. All right, Joe Biden. Biden was handing out presidential medals of freedom to the so-called black leaders. What do you guys think about that, man? What do you guys think about that? It seems like another play for trying to get black Americans on board as usual, right? Looks like another play once again to get black Americans on board. Welcome back, everybody, to What's the 411 News. And yeah, so is these one of those things where Biden's trying to drum up support for his presidency by showcasing some black leaders? Well, let's get into it, man, and see what's going on with it. All right. Biden honoring black leaders with Presidential Medal of Freedom. So black Americans who spent their lives working towards justice for all will climb the ranks of history. Yeah, okay. On Friday, in the White House East Room, where the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed, President Joe Biden will highlight the work of Rep. Jim Fish Fry Clyburn, Democrat of South Carolina, Juneteenth advocate Opal Lee, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speechwriter Clarence B. Jones, and the NAACP's first field secretary in Mississippi, Medgar Evers, who was brutally murdered at his home. All right. Clyburn has a storied career. Yeah, there's a lot of stories to tell with his storied career. Clyburn has a storied career in politics where he has ushered in new policies like the Affordable Connectivity Program. I never even heard of that. What's that about? What's the Affordable Connectivity Program? Which ignited rural, broadband and access to internet for millions. Oh, okay. Connectivity. Okay, I got you. One of his new policies was the Affordable Connectivity Program, which ignited rural broadband and access to internet for millions. He's uplifted efforts toward the long-ranging preservation of historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, as a graduate of South Carolina State University, and has afforded many students the opportunity to engage in the boom for clean energy through the USDA Rural Energy for America program, also called REAP or REAP. Words cannot express the profound honor and gratitude I feel upon receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This recognition is not only a testament to my work, but also to the countless individuals. Don't that sound like a script? It sounds like a pre-made script that we always hear all the time. We always hear that type of script. Words can't express the profound honor and gratitude I feel receiving this Presidential Medal of Freedom. The recognition is not only a testament to my work, but also to the countless individuals who have supported my journey, the giants who fought alongside me for justice, equity, and the pursuit of progress, and the support of my loving family, said Rep. Clyburn. That's the script they don't have for 50, 60 years. When elected, he became South Carolina's first black congressman since George W. Murray in 1893. The election came after he experienced the 1969 Charleston hospital strike, addressing the inequity of black healthcare workers and the wake of the Orangeburg massacre, where police killed 3 protesting students at South Carolina State. As he receives this recognition, he graciously, looks back on a life geared toward political reform and a calling to fight injustice. Before we go on, I got one question because they didn't say too much about what he did. He created this Access Internet program. But what has he really done for the black people in South Carolina? Right? He's come up with this, he's created or ushered in new policies like the Affordable Connectivity Program, which brings broadband and access to the internet to rural uh, locations, right? Uplifted efforts toward the long-ranging preservation of historically black colleges. He's uplifted. Again, I always tell you to look at the words and listen to the words when you're not able to look at them. Listen to them because he's uplifted. Wow, what does that really mean? What kind of doing does that really mean? What has he done? Oh, he just uplifted something. He's uplifted HBCUs, right? Efforts to long-ranging preservation. But isn't there a lot of HBCUs that are doing some real funny stuff now in regards to bringing other ethnicities into the fold? We did a report where I think it was the Coppin or Coppington, something to that effect, on the name, the university, where they crowned a Latina. Remember that one? When it's supposed to be a HBCU. So what is this? He's uplifted. He's uplifted efforts. Just what did you actually do all these years you've been in South Carolina? What did you do for South Carolina, really? For the black Americans in South Carolina? Other than have a fish fry, and that's supposed to grab the hearts of the black Americans because you had a fish fry for them, and that's supposed to garner votes for you, right? And for Biden. This is the disrespect even the black boule folks have for black Americans. I mean, look how disrespectful that is. To even have a fish fry and nothing more, nothing less. You're not really talking about policies that's gonna be in the benefit of black Americans. You get mad if you get approached. You get mad if somebody comes up to you, Jim Clyburn, and checks you on a lot of the nonsense you've been doing, been saying, what's been going on. You get mad and want to cuss people out when they check you on that. But you ain't really done nothing for nobody, right? So when elected, he became South Carolina's first black congressman since George W. Murray in 1893. All right, the election came after he experienced the 1969 Charleston hospital strike, addressing the inequity of black healthcare workers, and the wake of the Orangeburg massacre, where police killed 3 protesting students at South Carolina State. As he receives this recognition, he graciously looks back on a life geared toward political reform and a calling to fight injustice. I reflect upon the moment I was elected president of my NAACP Youth Council in Sumter, South Carolina, at the age of 12. From leading student protests in Orangeburg, South Carolina, to marshaling majorities to pass consequential legislation in Congress. What is those consequential legislation? What is that? What was that? What was it? See, we use these words: marshaling in, ushered, uplifted. You know, what actual thing of substance? Because that's not giving anybody a real idea of what you really did, what was behind it, what did it actually mean, what did it actually do for Black Americans, right? What did that actually mean? What did it actually do for them? All these play words, play game words, right? So marshaling majorities to pass consequential legislation in Congress. I have learned that we all have roles to play in making the greatness of this democracy accessible for everyone, he explained. I look forward to continuing my efforts to bend the arc of history towards justice and proving myself worthy of this incredible honor. Again, look at the wording. Listen to the wording. I look forward to continuing my efforts to bend the arc of history. I look forward to continuing my efforts to bend the arc of history towards justice. These are like nothing words. There's nothing you can do with that. To bend the arc of history. That's not going to do nothing for nobody. But this is the words he was using. These are a quote that he used. And proving myself worthy of this incredible honor. In other words, what you're saying is you really ain't going to do ish. That's what it boils down to. All these play game words. I'm going to bend the arc of history. Right? What is all that supposed to mean? Game playing words. So, celebrating Opal Lee. We're going to get into Opal Lee now. Lee, like Clyburn, has spent a long time fighting for justice and contends that the work towards shaping a better nation isn't done. At 97 years old, Lee is just now seeing the fruits of her labor come to fruition. For years, she walked door to door in Fort Worth, Texas, promoting the importance of Juneteenth. She walked door to door in Fort Worth, Texas, promoting the importance of Juneteenth, a day of remembrance for the formerly enslaved. Annually, Lee took the 2.5-mile walk to represent the 2.5 years it took for news of the Emancipation Proclamation to reach cities in Texas. At 89, she conducted a 4-month symbolic walk from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C., hoping to plead her case for a federal holiday to former President Barack Obama. However, her life's mission would be fulfilled exactly 4 years later in 2021, when President Biden signed a formal bill instating a day of reminiscing nationwide. The continuous toil of yearly celebrations as a community informant earned Lee the affectionate title of Grandmother of Juneteenth. You know, she's 97 years old. It's saying here, they talked about her doing a walk door to door, and then she walks 2.5 miles. You know, I'm not going to be disrespectful, too tough on her, although there's some things that's kind of off about what they're saying about her. You know, she's 97 years old, so I'm not going to bang on her too hard. You know, Clyburn is going to get that work, but I won't bang on her too hard about that. because apparently she has some type of passion for Juneteenth, and because of that, I'm gonna let her pass because we even have, here at What's the 411 News, we are using the Juneteenth flag as our logo now. So I let her pass on that. But it's some things just a tad bit off, but I'm gonna let it slide on Miss Lee. All right, I'm gonna let that slide. So now we talk about Jones. Jones collaborates and encourages. All right. So Attorney Jones has been a peaceful partner of legends with a stoic semblance of a battle not long forgotten. King once described him as a man of sound judgment, deep insights, great dedication, and great integrity after he was admitted to the New York bar. The two knew each other well and advised each other often. Jones represented King during his 1960 tax fraud trial that he eventually overcame, and they worked closely as advocates of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC. In 1962, Jones inspired King to make a statement to John F. Kennedy in the wake of the Cuban Missile Crisis, writing that his status as a leader requires that you not be silent about an event and issues so decisive to the world. 1 year later, Jones would influence King's impactful words, again as a draft writer of the 1968 I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington. Decades have gone by with Jones uplifting and educating the next generation at delivering speeches at college campuses and local nonprofit entities. All right, so that was Jones. And so now we're going to get into Medgar Evers. All right, remembering Medgar Evers. The White House described Evers, one of the three posthumous recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, as someone who fought for his country in World War II and returned home to lead the fight against segregation in Mississippi. All right. Evers, born in 1925 in Decatur, Mississippi, is remembered for his unwavering dedication to the civil rights movement, despite facing relentless racism and threats to his life. His childhood was marked by the pervasive specter of racism, with incidents like the lynching of a family friend serving as stark reminders of the injustice prevalent in the community. Determined to make a difference, Evers enlisted in the Army during World War II, serving with distinction in a segregated field battalion in England and France. After returning, Evers earned a Bachelor of Arts from Alcorn College, where he met Merle Beasley, whom he married in 1951. He embarked on a career in activism, joining the NAACP and organizing boycotts and protests to combat segregation and discrimination. His efforts caught the attention of the NAACP national leadership, leading to his appointment as Mississippi's first field secretary for the organization. Evers also organized boycotts and advocated for the admission of African American students to the University of Mississippi. Despite facing constant threats and violence, Evers remained steadfast in his commitment to the cause of equality. His outspokenness in attempts to address the murder of teenager Emmett Till in Mississippi and in favor of veteran Clyde Kennard made him a martyr after Byron de la Beckwith, a member of the White Citizens Council, shot him in the back of the head. The assassination rang in the hearts of thousands who would later attend Evers' funeral and burial ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery, where he received full military honors. All right. Here's the full list of the Medal of Freedom recipients. All right. And we have Michael R. Bloomberg, Gregory Boyle, Jim Clyburn, Elizabeth Dole, Phil Donahue, Medgar Wiley Everts, posthumous, Al Gore, Clarence B. Jones. Aren't some of these folks Caucasian? And this was about, I thought it was about giving the so-called black leadership medals of freedom. But we'll continue on. We got Al Gore again, Clarence B. Jones, John Forbes Kerry, Frank R. Lautenberg, posthumous, Kathleen Genevieve Ledecky, Opal Lee, Eileen Ochoa, Nancy de Alessandro Pelosi. Oh, that's Nancy Pelosi's name? Wow. De Alessandro. Interesting. Jane Rigby, Teresa Romero, Judy Shepard, James Francis Thorpe, posthumous, and Michelle Yeoh. Sounds like that might be an Asian name. Michelle Yeoh. So yeah, there you have it, man. It seems like an attempt to, again, usher in some black American support for this November's vote. But we've given you so much information on the Democratic Party and what they're about. Even this part on Clyburn, it doesn't really show any scope. They didn't get real detail on what he did. And there's nothing really showing that he did anything. They're using these empty words. That's probably my choice of what those words are called. Marshalling in. We're gonna uplift. They're empty. In other words, you really ain't doing nothing. You had done nothing. That's what it boils down to when we're talking about Clyburn. So you guys let us know what you think, man, about this one. It just seems like more attempts to gain support from the black folks, the black Americans. That's all it sounds like. Another attempt to put these faces out there, and they sprinkled in some other faces as well. So you let us know what you think about this one, man. This is What's the 411 News, and we out of here. Peace. Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.